Greetings Indie Warriors and welcome to I Dream of Indie. My name is Old Gamer Joe, bringing you another review today as we look at puzzle adventure game White Shadows on Steam. It would be pretty easy to glance at White Shadows and write it off as another Limbo clone, but doing so would be a grave mistake as White Shadows offers up an incredibly endearing story, some stunning visuals, and captivating sound design that help it to stand out as one of the more interesting and compelling indie games of 2021. In White Shadows, you'll play as Ravengirl, trapped within a massive dystopia seemingly ruled by pigs and other animals that carry a deep-seated hate towards birds, which is bad news for you. Right out of the gate, players will be given a warning that the game depicts themes of racism, suicide, violence, and animal cruelty, so if you're sensitive to any of those subjects, this may be one to avoid, though I personally thought the game handled these heavy-handed subjects quite brilliantly. As you begin, all you really know is that you're in a place you don't want to be, and you're trying to get the hell out of there, but as you get further into White Shadows, you begin to unravel more and more of the well-written narrative, and while the conclusion did ultimately disappoint me, the moments leading up to it had me hooked. White Shadows features a good amount of platforming and stealth sections with a few puzzles sprinkled about its 3.5-hour duration. You'll be making plenty of stomach-churning jumps, and because you are a raven, there is a bit of floatiness to how those jumps feel. I personally thought it felt great as the game was designed in such a way as to not always require precision platforming. You'll cling to walls and you'll leap towards ladders, you'll push crates to reach otherwise unreachable areas, and the few puzzles that are here will generally require following a certain pattern or pulling switches in a certain order. They aren't mind-numbingly difficult, and I did luck into a few of the solutions, but the majority of the puzzles were engaging and entertaining enough. Perhaps some of the most thrilling moments in White Shadows come from when you're simply pushing forward through this haunting dystopia. The game's excellent pacing rarely gives players a moment to catch their breath. You'll be free-falling with an umbrella, you might be jumping between trains or ducking underneath signs, but those moments where you are able to just take in the stunning black and white visuals and admire the magnificent swooping camera work were some of my favorites throughout the game. Despite its limited color palette, White Shadows is gorgeous throughout with bright, almost blinding lights, incredible set pieces, and visual trickery and presentation that calls back to the Charlie Chaplin days. It's one of the best looking indie games of the year by far, which makes it a bit of a shame that the occasional frame rate dip can take you out of that experience. These dips weren't frequent enough to spoil things entirely, but they do happen. When they do, it is noticeable and breaks the immersion a bit. White Shadows heavily leans on classic compositions to drive its narrative forward, and that produces some pretty chilling results. The game sounds incredible throughout, and if you have a good pair of headphones, certainly consider slapping them on for this one. Developer Monocle has given us a visual and audio tour de force here that will leave you breathless. White Shadows is a short game, but it sure is a memorable one. The sound platforming and puzzle design mixed with an unrelenting, sometimes brutal story do make for an unforgettable experience. Add in the fact that the game looks gorgeous and sounds incredible, and I have to award it with the golden genie lamp of approval. If you can stomach its bleak world and themes, White Shadows will reward you with addicting gameplay and jaw-dropping moments that cement this as one of my favorite indie games of the year. Thank you so much for watching the latest video from I Dream of Indie. We would now like to take a moment to pay tribute to our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships. Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevilo, Mitchell Hall, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Adriana Amato, CJR, C Coil, Skepticism, Hallie, Julian Colbus, Jen Rose, Jesse CPM, Bunny, JRS8, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, and Dave Harp. Thank you so much for all you do for independent developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, please head down to the description box below. Let's defeat the gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.